Good morning, everyone. It looks like we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today and joining us here at Cloud at Work and with our great partner DNA for the Modern Workplace Challenges and Opportunities webinar. Just a few housekeeping rules. This presentation will be roughly around 45 minutes. All of the phone lines are muted, but please feel free to enter any questions inside of the question box, and we would be more than happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. And we will make sure to answer all of your questions. Just to introduce ourselves today, my name is Patricia Benitez. I'm the Partner Success Manager for Cloud at Work. And joining me today from my team is Craig Forsyth, our Cloud Solutions Specialist. Craig, did you want to say hi?
Yep. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed working with DNA for the past 18 months, maybe 2 years. So excited to chat with you all today.
And we are very, very excited to be here. You may wonder, who is Cloud at Work? We were founded in 2017. We are a cloud hosting solution for Sage applications. We're here to deliver you a great SaaS experience. And how did Cloud at Work start? Of course, we want to give you a little more insight on who we are. Today, we want to start out by talking a little bit about where did Cloud at Work start. Most enterprise cloud management companies don't know the Sage applications, and most of the Sage hosting companies were cutting corners on the cloud side of things. So that is where we were born. We are an enterprise cloud experience that pairs with a world-leading Sage application experience. We host your Sage applications in a confident way without any type of hurdles that you would have to jump through, and ultimately deliver that additional cloud service to support continued digital transformation initiatives. So today we want to start out by talking a little bit about trends. We're going to talk about the new modern workplace and the challenges and opportunities that arise from them. The big theme that you'll hear today is that we must change. Just like everything out in the world is changing, so do our, we have to change. We have to adapt to things and all of these external factors. So right now, where are we at? Leaders everywhere are grappling with changing dynamics in the market. Those being, like inflation, rising energy prices and shifting exchange rates, geopolitical supply chain disruptions and security breaches, erode trust, and of course, talent shortages and increased labor costs. We have to embrace the age of agility and the culture of agile working and the role of technology. Agile working, frequently confused with flexible working, takes both the physical and digital workplace into account in order to drive long-term organizational success. Unlike flexible working, it's driven by the organization's need and benefits both the business and the employee. Sometimes referred to as activity-based working, agile working involves encouraging behavioral change, optimizing the working environment, and ensuring every employee has what is needed to do their job wherever or whenever they're working. Now, in these changes, security is increasingly insecure. 62% of employers experience a breach due to a remote worker. That's a breach that could have been prevented if employees had been coming into the office. 81% of underwriters believe cyber insurance premiums will increase in 2024. And of course, 74% increase in the average ransomware demand. 27% of organizations that do not feel prepared to deal with a ransomware attack. And companies that practice backing up data prove to be much more resilient in responding to and recovering from ransomware attacks when companies that shun backups. On average, companies that use backups saved $1 million in recovery fees versus their non-backup peers. Now, if we focus on that 62% of employers experiencing a breach due to a remote worker, that's a scary percentage, right? That's a scary number, and it makes it very real for us. And it's not a situation that you want to put yourself in.
Yeah, and if any of the attendees want to type into the chat if they have experienced an attack or know of any, fellow um, colleagues that have been hit by an attack, that would be helpful to the group, I think.
Absolutely, Craig. And with that increase in the average ransomware demand, since 2020, there's been more than 130 different ransomware strains detected, according to a report by Virus Total. That's a vast number, and that's something that we want to help prevent. So with this increase in insecurity also comes changing in the evolving office, right? So office space has evolved over the past 15 years, ranging from a mix of offices and cubicles to open floor plans. The pandemic has prompted a wave of households to leave superstar cities, thus driving down population. For example, New York. And post-pandemic, work from home and hybrid work has driven down the demand for office square footage, and analysts predict this won't be changing anytime soon. While many tenants are downsizing to save money, others are paying more per square foot to provide attractive space to their employees. And there's a number of reasons for this flight to quality. One is that the older office space is often not suited to hybrid work. Also, now that hybrid work has reduced the total amount of space that employers need, they can spend their budgets on smaller amounts of higher quality space rather than larger amounts of lower quality space. The main reason being, though, is that many employers see high quality space as a way to encourage office attendance among their employees. So it's with this evolving office, we're going from these offices that are, traditionally cubicles and open floor plans offices and having to adapt into what's next, this work from anywhere. Another impacting factor is workforce trends. 20% of employers now are offering 4-day work weeks. Not to say that we encourage for a 4-day work week, but it is something that's out there. And if a 4-day work week ever became standard, it would mark a big change to the national work schedule, since the 5-day work week was adopted by Henry Ford in the 1900s, right? 24% of workers think that 2 years is normal to change jobs. So we see this shift in employees sticking around and staying committed to jobs. That's as well a big factor in this. We also see that 62% of workers are seeking a new job for higher pay, and 16% of companies are operating fully remote. By building a connected workplace that optimizes to suit your people's individual work styles, enables them to work from anywhere, they'll work better than they ever have. These tech challenges and staffing challenges and workers that want more pay or flexibility and better incentives for coming into the office is becoming a trend that's affecting more consistently now. And it's something that should be taken into account. Now, the IT landscape is also changing. Infrastructure is at the heart of everything your business does, from application delivery to ensuring you have the computing power to react to customer demands. Azure infrastructure forms the backbone of businesses around the world. With that, you can run any workload with more agility, resiliency, and security. And over the past few years, the global pandemic has served as a catalyst for that change, an accelerated shift in the technology landscape that has brought about a digital imperative for all organizations. At the same time, there are heightened expectations and scrutiny on digital transformation initiatives. So they need to deliver tangible value and do so quickly. So how do you respond to the imperative, overcome challenges of change, and deliver on expectations all at the same time? So organizations around the world are moving faster with increased cloud adoption, but existing technical debt makes migration complex. The way that we think about infrastructure investments has changed, but it can be difficult to know where to start to make the shift. The way our teams work and are productive has had a dramatic shift as well, but knowing how to scale and foster productivity remains a pervasive challenge. And those needs around cybersecurity have only intensified. But how do we manage that ongoing investment and resourcing, which can highly be taxing? Those computing needs have evolved, right? The virtual desktop is here now to enable our end users to have access to their unique desktop environments remotely over a network. Organizations need to address specific operating needs, such as keeping data and resources safe while enabling appropriate access by a variety of users, and access to IT services on demand for an increasingly elastic workforce, meeting employee-specific needs, and being able to support those specialized workloads. So in those computing needs that we see evolving, a lot of factors come into place, including that security and regulation, the elasticity in the workforce, remote employees, and specialized workloads. And many of the most revolutionary innovations have had decades of long adoption periods, and there are many reasons for that. As an example, let's take a look at one that we're all familiar with. So when we hear the word change, what do we think of? Change can be a worrying concept at times, and we've had to deal with a lot of it in the last few years. However, change doesn't have to be a bad thing. It opens doors to new opportunities to improve efficiencies and achieve cost savings. We're evaluating our options here, right? We're all familiar with legacy systems. Not to use that as a scary term, but we're addressing here a people, process, and technology, starting with our legacy systems. Like, do we keep doing what we're doing? And how do we improve on that? So legacy systems are legacy because they last. And to last, these systems share several hallmarks. They maintain business relevance, users know how to use them, and they continue to work. Legacy systems have lasting power because they just run and run, and their reliability encourages companies to adopt them as mission-critical systems, and users have come to know them extremely well. So it doesn't mean that legacy systems don't have their issues, but what it does mean is that the cost of replacing them is far greater than sustaining them so they can continue to do their value-added work. So when do we consider making changes? Like we've mentioned in that insecurity, vulnerability to security threats such as breaches, and the cost of them running, accessibility, and the excessive use of specialized and limited IT resources are all red flags that make you think that maybe it's time to take a look at the next step. And the downsides of change, must be taken into consideration. Now we have hybrid IT, which still has a number of legacy systems because they work and continue to support business functions, but that's where we take into account the cost of running and the accessibility of, hampering productivity. And combining these benefits of legacy systems and cloud infrastructures, a hybrid IT strategy may make sense for organizations. But of course, modernizing your ERP and enjoying that flexibility and reliability that companies trust, and including efficient data migration, multi-layered security, on-demand scalability, improved operational efficiency, and overall reduction of your IT costs, you can continue growing and scaling your business while maximizing your software investment and relocating your IT resources to more strategic initiatives. Now, how do we reduce the layers here? Craig, I think this is where I might hand it over to you. Just let me know when you want me to click next on the slide. We want to get into the nitty-gritty of what cloud at work can help out with.
Yeah, I would say hit the next, fill out that slide, I suppose. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Thank you, Patricia. Great job. I think the purpose of the presentation today is to go through and talk about and identify, challenges that are, I guess, macro that all entities are facing. And I thought Patricia did a great job of doing that. And now maybe a little bit on how Cloud at Work can help you as a IT or business professional face those challenges. Kind of back to why Cloud at Work was created and founded. It was really around simplifying the Sage end user experience and maximizing it for the end user. Back in 2017, 2018, when we were founded, there wasn't really an enterprise class cloud solution that was a one-stop shop that worked hand in hand within the Sage ecosystem and the partners out there to simplify the process and the support of the Sage companies. So the example on the top, right, you would have a cloud management company, a managed services provider or an IT services provider would build out an Amazon or Azure infrastructure and provide support for that specific infrastructure. Then you're layering on the Sage application on top of that, and you're receiving your support from DNA with regards to Sage. So you've got two different platforms and really two different support companies trying to work together. We are firmly embedded in the Sage ecosystem. We're working with dozens of DNA customers to give them a seamless support mechanism from an application and infrastructure perspective. So it's, again, a simplified model with nothing but Sage expertise for the Sage end user experience to be optimized. Next slide, please, Patricia. And here's a little bit of, physically where we are located. We are the only cloud provider that is certified by Sage in Canada. We have 4 data centers, 2 in the Philadelphia region. They're both outside of Philadelphia. The disaster recovery location is in Dallas, Texas. And then our Canadian data center is in Barrie, right outside of Toronto. For disaster recovery in the States, we're hosting the production environment in Philadelphia, and we're replicating down to Dallas and providing disaster recovery out of the Dallas location. In Canada, our Canadian customers have 2 options. The vast majority of them elect to have their all of their data reside in Canada, so we replicate up into the Microsoft Azure cloud in Canada. Otherwise, if you're comfortable with your data being encrypted and stored outside of the country, we would replicate you down into our Dallas, Texas location. But all of these locations in our cloud solution are SOC 2 Type 2 compliant, which is the highest level of security offered, as an independent audit. Next slide, please. I think, Patricia. So there are 3 pillars to the cloud solution that we deliver, and again, we're delivering it as an infrastructure as a service. It's availability, security, and uptime. So from an uptime perspective, we guarantee 4 nines of uptime in our cloud, and we have over the past 4 years, since 2020, we've been delivering 6 nines of uptime. So you can see in this chart how that relates to expected downtime. With 4 nines, a customer can expect to only be down roughly 52 minutes per year of unscheduled downtime. We've been delivering close to 6 nines, which is only 30 seconds of unscheduled downtime. So from an uptime perspective, if you're hosted by Cloud at Work and supported by DNA, you can expect that your system is always going to be up and available to you. Then from an availability perspective, how we deliver the Sage end user experience, your end users can access Sage from anywhere that they can get a internet address. Next slide, I think, Patricia. Oh, very good. And this is, an overview of the Cloud at Work experience from a Sage perspective. So again, we're guaranteeing 4 nines of uptime. Our data center providers are all SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. in their either tier 3 or tier 4 facilities. We are fully supporting and monitoring the environment 24/7 by 365. So our enterprise class cloud, it's just built on Dell VMs, Pure storage arrays, and VMware is the middleware. It's built in an N+1+1 fashion. So it has excess capacity. We have grown to about 710 customers since we went live in 2018. And that excess capacity allows us to easily add any additional customers, as well as that existing customer base can easily grow within organically within our cloud. And then obviously, if we're monitoring that environment, we're the only ones that touch it. We own and operate all of the cloud pods, but it is technology. So if a drive fails, which does not happen often, but it does happen occasionally, any impacted customers, we're seeing that first, and we're moving any impacted customers over to open arrays within the cloud. Once you're in our environment, we're taking over all of the hardware maintenance contracts, all of the OS management activities. We're applying patches, which is really one of the first lines of defense from a security perspective. We are also including backups in the solution, so 48 hourly snapshots, so it's a rolling 48 hours of backups, along with rolling 30 days of backups. They are all stored on separate networks from the production environment, so there is an additional layer of insulation and air gap per se between all three of the locations of your data, so that if one version something occurs, the other two versions are insulated from any, again, ransomware attacks if an end user clicks on a link that they shouldn't. Geodiverse data centers, kind of covered that on a previous slide. Integrated cloud and Sage customer experience, again, that's at core of what we do. It's working hand in hand with DNA and our partners so that it's a seamless experience for you, the customer, and your end users. No application limitations. That means that fundamentally what we're delivering is an enterprise class cloud solution that can host anything, any application that can be virtualized and run on VMware. So at the core of what we're doing for all 710 customers is Sage, but many of those customers were hosting much more than just Sage. We can also provide an end-to-end solution that includes desktop as a service. So you can really look at us as potentially your one-stop shop when it comes to IT infrastructure, especially when you look at your core business system, which is Sage, at the center of that solution, where we're particularly experts. We do have an optional disaster recovery solution. I mentioned that earlier for our Canadian customers. They can replicate down to our Dallas data center, or they can replicate up into the Azure cloud. We guarantee a 1 hour recovery point objective, meaning no more than 1 hour of your data is at risk. And we guarantee a 4 hour recovery time objective, meaning we'll have you back up and running within 4 hours in the event of a disaster. And then our solution is all inclusive. It's a white glove solution. So Microsoft SQL licensing for Sage 300, Microsoft Remote Desktop licensing, Microsoft Excel licensing, all of the licensing required to operate out of our cloud would be included in the solution. All support tickets from an infrastructure perspective are also included. So if common support tickets are that a printer has dropped off a line, or I need to add a user or remove a user, all of those types of inquiries, whether it's a email to the help desk or a call to the help desk, all of that type of stuff is included from an infrastructure perspective. Your application support, your Sage support, is still going to come from DNA. It's still going to come from your DNA consultants and your DNA account management team. Nothing will change with that relationship at all. Next slide. And that would be the end. So, so obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in. If you'd like to learn more specifically around how the Cloud at Work solution would fit into your business and how it can provide value to you and your end users, just reach out to your DNA consultant or account manager, and they will schedule a time with us. But otherwise, if no questions or anything, I think it's probably just time to thank you all for attending, and you know, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for sharing your time with us today. We really appreciate it, and we hope the information we provided for you today was helpful. Again, if you have any additional questions or would like any additional information, please reach out to your DNA consultant, and they, of course, will get in contact with us. We'll be more than happy to provide them with anything that you need. And we hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day.
Great. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, Craig. Bye-bye, everyone.